Right. Welcome back, everyone, to Senate Education. We have Laura Siegel with us, who is going to weigh in on H 871. And before we do that, I just wanted to give everyone a heads up. It was asked when we were offline, the House Miscellaneous Education Bill that we have, will it be carrying money in it? And the answer is yes, if the committee decides it wants to fund community schools. Senate Appropriations Committee is willing to do that in the ed fund. And that's it. So if people want to, I suspect you're not going to want to move forward with it. I suspect others might not want to because it impacts the ed fund. So we'll have to have a conversation about that if people want to.
It impacts the ed fund, but at least it goes to schools. So it's, at least it's like an appropriate, seems like an appropriate.
Please, okay, yeah, so think about it that way.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a million, it could be, but
Sure.
just know that that's a little bit where it's at. Okay. Laura, great to see you. Thanks for joining us. And you have written testimony here that you would like to share with us. So the floor is yours. And again, we are talking about H 871, and this is our state aid to school construction bill. And we look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Thank you so very much. Hello, everybody, members of this committee. I thank you for the opportunity to discuss this for the deaf, hard of hearing, and deaf-blind. When constructing or upgrading school facilities, ensuring accessibility for individuals who are deaf, hard of hearing, or deaf-blind are just as important as accommodations for those with mobility issues. Here are some examples where a school construction could incorporate. First one, visual alert systems provide both audio and visual signals to notify individuals about fire alarms, doorbells, and emergency announcements. These systems typically consist of flashing lights, can be color-coded, or vibrating devices placed in areas where they can be easily seen. Number two, signage. Turn the lighting features on and off for restrooms usages, exits, and even emergency evacuation routes. For instance, when it comes to the restrooms, we should be able to access the stalls with dignity and not have to touch the floor to see if anything is behind those stalls or peek through the cracks. Accessibility communication devices, number three, a public video phone, caption phone, or TTY should be easily accessible at all times on campus. A person with a hearing loss relies on such technology to make and receive calls, but is unable to do so if they are not permitted to use cell phones or other telecommunication devices during school hours. For instance, a student with a hearing loss should be able to make their own phone calls to their parents without relying on another. Number four, induction loop systems. Install induction loop systems in key areas such as auditoriums, meeting rooms, reception desks, and even classrooms to transmit audio signals directly to hearing aids or cochlear implants equipped with telecoil technology. This allows individuals who are deaf and hard of hearing to hear amplified sound without background noise or interference. Number five, accessible telecommunication infrastructure. Ensure that the building is equipped with telecommunications infrastructure, including compatible phone systems, caption phones, and text messaging services. This enables individuals who are deaf and hard of hearing and deaf-blind to communicate effectively with building occupants, emergency services, and external contacts. Number six, accessible restrooms. Design restrooms that are accessible and inclusive, install visual alarms and indicators to alert users of occupancy status, provide clear signage with universal symbols, and incorporate adequate space and accommodations. Number 7, elevators and front door. Include video cam for visual communication. Intercoms are intended only for those who can hear, understand the person speaking on the other end, or the buzzing noise. We shouldn't be dependent on others for our communication access or safety. In moments of adrenaline rush, individuals often focus solely on their own concerns, disregarding those of others. I've personally experienced being overlooked or dismissed in both student and teacher roles in various school scenarios. As a teacher, I was often patronized and reprimanded for not responding as quickly as hearing individuals. There was insistence that I always be accompanied by a hearing staff member, but it never happened. I sincerely doubt it ever will. With those accommodations in place, there won't be a need because we deserve to be able to maintain our independence in all settings, home, work, and even school. Thank you.
Thank you for that testimony. Committee, questions? I can tell you one thing. I don't know if this is going to be good news for you, Ms. Siegel, or not, but we have put your organization in the bill. So you might be called upon to do additional testimony as we make our way, as the committee makes its way through its process to ensure that buildings are indeed prepared to provide the best services for the deaf and hard of hearing. So little extra work for you possibly, but we appreciate your willingness to be a part of it. And as I said, the way we have it listed in our new draft, you can tell us if this is wrong. We're going to be going through it this afternoon. The working group would need to consult with a number of different agencies, including the Department of Disabilities, Aging and Independent Living, Deaf, Hard of Hearing, Deaf-Blind Services. That is how it is listed in the new draft of H 871. Does that make sense? Perfect.
Yes, it does. Perfect.
Great. Committee, any other questions?
That was really helpful.
That was incredibly helpful. It alerted us to a number of issues that I, speaking for myself, I wasn't considering. So I appreciate your efforts on this front.
Absolutely. I'm sure that maybe I've even forgotten some other things, but that was what was on my mind. And that's what I could think of. And so I notated those. And I just did that on the fly.
Well, impressive for on the fly. Even it would be impressive if it weren't on the fly. And if you do think of anything else, Ms. Siegel, please feel free to reach out to the committee assistant, Morgan Feldman, or any of us directly as we make our way through the process. This bill we hope to advance possibly later this week or early next week. So please let us know.
Okay, I will try to think of other things, but I'm pretty sure that this is the highlight. These are the key issues that I think that really need to be included in the processing.
Great, thank you. Bye.
All right, I hope that's all. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.
So committee, I'm wondering, so with this testimony H for 871, Ms. Siegel brings up a number of really good points. I don't know if there are ways that the committee are thinking of actually incorporating them into the bill, or if we are content or somewhat satisfied with just making certain that Department of Disabilities, Aging and Independent Living, Deaf, Hard of Hearing, Deaf-Blind Services is going to be consulted. And that kind of, again, opens up all different kinds of opportunities to make sure that the needs of this community DHHD maintenance fees. That. Please, sorry, go ahead.
Do you all, I don't see this as necessarily being part of the construction of the building. Do you guys see that? This seems like almost it is, you think it is? I see this as like the second tier of like like putting in the infrastructure. In the,
Should be in the planning phase of it,
okay,
for sure. There's gonna be additional costs because of the
okay,
potential.
okay. Yeah, no, I get that. I was just thinking in terms of like the actual physical structure. This seems like it's more like, I don't know. I guess, I was, wondering if there's more about, I don't know, like, and maybe she'll come back with more testimony, but like the size of spaces or the set, you know, like height of the ceilings or like things like that.
Back to your question, it's reflecting what Senator Hewitt just said. I think that it was very helpful that Ms. Siegel provided testimony. I think that including that group in the essentially associated with the working group is appropriate. But I don't think that the specifics that she ran through were necessary to be included in the bill. I think the fact that she just
Right.
really validated
Right.
that
Yeah.
her input, that organization's input is germane.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, thanks.
Great. Okay, did you want to see if Eric Lafayette can join us? We're about 5 minutes early. Is he here? He's coming into, this is his second time, he's coming in to actually make a case for the additions that you would like in the bill. So this is more than his presentation. This is, I wanted to come in and make the case. Yeah, Senator Jenkins.
Quick question, do we have anything in here regarding the reuse of a closed building? And, you know, because I'm looking at the section on efficiencies. You know, I'm thinking, you know, if old school closes it down, what's gonna be used for next?
Great.
I know some schools are probably not gonna be torn down, but PCBs maybe, but.
Oh, you're thinking, so you're saying, the next iteration of a school building, if it goes to
Yeah,
consider.
yeah, and I imagine that might be part of the historic preservation division. But
I think it's an excellent point. It's something we need to consider. Because we're trying to deal with one issue that has all these unintended or intended consequences and such. And I think that's big. So it's a recommendation, potentially some type of municipal group that recognizes, solidarity of downtowns or whatever. Deal with that issue, represent that issue. I think it's a huge issue.
Yeah.
Because every school we close down, if we generate the next use concept, I think it would smooth the waters tremendously.
I agree. I've been asked the same question. Would you want language in here?
I think I know it couldn't hurt because I know that we have a section that's kind of a catch-all that says, in any other consideration or something along those lines, but.
We can spell it out. That's coming in at, I think,
Okay.
take us through this new version. We can add, the amendments and the ideas that are put forward. We can add whatever people would like at that point. I think it's good stuff. Did Catherine Sims happen to reach out to you?
Yeah,
Is this what she wants also?
yeah, that was one of her suggestions.
Do you remember what else she was hoping to get?
That's all she said.
Okay. Repurposing. Okay, great.
We,
Senator Lee says.
Act 46, when the towns gave up their buildings,
Yeah,
I think there was a clause in there that said if they were ever not used for education, they'd go back to the municipality. If that's the case, then it's not an issue, but probably Beth would know.
I think that was for mergers.
Huh?
But wasn't that for
Yes,
mergers?
yeah, but Act 46 was welcome.
so look, so the school merged with
Right.
another.
The towns didn't have to give
School
more,
was empty.
right,
Okay.
Right.
good question.
You'll ask that if that's when she comes in. Great.
Can I ask a quick question about the run of play for the rest of the session? We've got this bill construction and we've got BOCES.
Yeah.
Are we,
miscellaneous ed.
those three are our big three?
Yep, and then we also have, we are gonna start a joint hearing with Senate Finance as soon as the yield bill leaves the House. Because the yield bill has a lot of education policy in it. Specific to this committee, section 1, which I've asked Peter Conlon and Beth to come in and talk to us about tomorrow. Section 1 is House Education's, I think they're calling it sort of rethinking public education or education transformation, a study document, and that I would say is going to be a big part of the work as well.
And can, what?
Basically.
I think she missed one. She was looking for what the priority bills were.
Yeah, so those three plus the yield bill coming over, and then I'm just, what?
No, I'm just saying that here's a bit. I'm trying to answer.
Oh, so what's the answer?
PCD,
Oh,
which is, we're covering tomorrow.
Oh, right, yeah, sorry, thank you, okay. And I just wanna keep elevating my S203 and wondering if we are still, because the plan was to put that on the miscellaneous ed bill. What?
well, I've got pretty some bad news. No, I don't have any bad news. I would say when Peter comes in tomorrow, I guess they have something in their bill that's similar.
Okay,
So take a look at what they have and let us know what you think.
okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, I heard that a little bit through the grapevine through the house.
Okay, so there are 5 bills that we're dealing with, okay,
Are you including that one as the fifth?
no.
Okay,
So
yeah.
PCB's, BOCES, school construction,
This one is.
miscellaneous, and this yield bill.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, okay.
As long as you're not counting 2 or 3.
No,
I'm kidding.
5.5.
203 sailed, past the Senate, past crossover. I mean, it didn't get through crossover.
Oh, yeah, no, we have a vehicle.
It's,
Yeah, and also, they are, interestingly enough, I haven't seen the details of it, but you might like the language that they're using for the state court, you might not. But we should have that conversation with them.
thank you.
Morgan, anything from Mr. Lafayette?
Nothing.
Okay, so when we go off for